So the most astute of you may have noticed that our program today has the unlikely theme of stories about sheep. We're looking forward to continuing that trend in our final story.
The Golden Lamb, an Iraqi folk tale retold by Naomi Baltug in her anthology, Apples from Heaven.
During the days of Caliph Harun al-Rashid, there lived 3 young men who were fast friends.
They decided to go traveling together to seek their fortune.
But as they had no money with which to travel, they agreed to spend the winter tending sheep for an old widow.
I cannot pay you in coin, but if you agree to work for me until lambing season is over, you shall each have your pick of the newborn lambs.
Yes!
All winter, they tended the flock and passed the time spinning grand tales of the rich lives they would one day lead. Now, in the spring, many lambs were born, but one of them was a wondrous lamb, born with a golden fleece.
I promised you your pick of the lambs, golden or no. It is yours, and you are welcome to it. But I leave it to you to decide amongst yourselves which of you shall have the golden lamb.
Me?
Me.
No, me.
No, me. Caliph Harun al-Rashid is supposed to be a very wise man.
And a fair one.
All right. Let's go to Baghdad, then. We'll let the Caliph decide which of us deserves the golden lamb.
Yes.
And it's going to be me.
No, me.
All the way to the city gates, they argued over which one was the most deserving. But when ushered into the presence of that great man, Harun al-Rashid, their knees trembled and they lost their voices. The Caliph said,
You gentlemen have traveled a great distance to see me. Which of you will tell me why?
Him.
Him.
No, him.
At last, they summoned up their courage and took turns explaining their plight to the Caliph.
Your Honor, I am the eldest. Are we not taught from childhood to respect our elders? What better sign of respect than to award me the golden lamb?
But I am the most clever. Ask these fellows, they won't disagree.
Well,
And as the most clever, I would make the best use of that fortune.
Ah, but I have a widowed mother and many young brothers and sisters to provide for. Would that not be a noble cause to support?
the Caliph said,
This is a difficult decision. Made all the more so because you have each stated your case so eloquently. It is apparent that you have a gift for words. So let that be the deciding factor. Yes, you shall each tell a story to me and my courtiers. Whoever tells the best story shall have as his reward the golden lamb.
Well, if it please your magnificence, I shall go first.
Proceed.
The young man launched into the story of a daring quest. The royal courtiers listened in awe to the exploits of the brave hero. At last, his quest was fulfilled and the world made right again. When the storyteller had finished, the audience was dumbstruck, still caught up in the excitement of the tale.
Excellent. That story shall be difficult to equal.
I shall live up to the task, omnipotent one, with your permission, of course.
By all means.
The second storyteller worked a different kind of magic. He told a heartwarming tale of love lost and found. All present felt their hearts ache with loneliness, and then soar like an eagle when the two star-crossed lovers found each other at last and were reunited for all time. When he finished his story, there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Superb. But there is yet one more tale to hear.
He raised his hands for silence, and the third young man stepped forward.
O magnanimous one, I hope that if my tale is last, it shall not be least.
He bowed low to the Caliph and began.
His was a tale, not of adventure or of love, but of mystery and suspense. He led his audience on a journey through a tangled web of plot and counterplot, shrouded in darkness. His listeners were so caught up in the thrill of the tale, they forgot to breathe. At last, like a conjurer, he laid open one final and astounding revelation, and the crowd burst into applause.
Only the Caliph sat in silence. He frowned and tugged on his beard, and at last he said,
Before I announce my decision, I would have you each answer one final question. Were I to give you the golden lamb, what would you do with the proceeds you received from the sale of it?
I would rent a stall in the marketplace, Your Magnificence, and open a shop. I could sell silks and spices, and in time I would be rich.
"O most worthy and benevolent one, I would use the money to take lessons. I would learn to keep accounts. Then I would find a very rich merchant and get a position with him. In this way, I would secure my place in the world."
O magnanimous one, I would travel to faraway lands and bring back rare merchandise to sell at a profit. And then I would use the proceeds to buy more wares. And in this way, my fortune would be made.
The Caliph nodded thoughtfully and declared,
The stories you have told were of equal value, though each was different and special in its own way. Therefore, I've decided to take the land and divide the proceeds equally among you.
Your Excellence, we have already decided among ourselves that only one of us should get all the proceeds. That way, one of us will surely have enough to go out and make our way. If we have to divide it among three, maybe none of us will have enough to make a new start.
I promise that you will each have what you need in order to begin a rewarding new life.
The three friends had no choice. The Caliph would divide the spoils as he saw fit. Perhaps the sale of a golden lamb might bring a high enough price to finance 3 new starts. The Caliph whispered into the ear of his vizier, who bowed and left the hall. What would he bring them?
Gold?
Silver? Jewels? At last, the vizier returned with arms laden. At the feet of each young man, he placed 3 items.
A sturdy pair of sandals?
A warm cloak?
And a loaf of bread.
What of our money, Your Opulence?
I never promised you money. I promised you would have what you need, and that is what I have given you.
But what good are these things to us?
These sandals will carry you far. The cloak will protect you from the chill of night. The bread will nourish you on your journey until you reach your destination. Once there, the people will fulfill your every need.
In exchange for what?
Why, for your marvelous stories, of course. Were I to give you money for the golden lamb, what would you do with it? You would become merchants and accountants. Surely there is a place in the world for such as these. But were any of you to follow that path, it would be a terrible waste. Clearly your talents lie in another direction. And so, my friends, in this matter, mark my words. Do not mourn for that which you do not possess, but rejoice in the gifts that you have been given. Go forth, storytellers, and share your gifts with the world.
No sooner had the Caliph spoken than the ladies and gentlemen of the court cheered and stepped forward to offer their congratulations.
The gentlemen gave them reward for their stories by pressing coins into their palms.
The ladies gave them sweet treats to take along on their journey.
And it was just as the Caliph had foretold. Together the three friends traveled the width and breadth of the land.
Everywhere they went, they were welcome. They were well fed, well cared for in exchange for the pleasure they gave. If they did not amass great fortunes of silver and gold, they were rich in friendship and contentment.
Most importantly, they acquired the wisdom to appreciate the worth of these treasures.
Yes. This wonderful Folklife Festival that we come to year after year and love so much. Thank you all for coming in to hear us. Woo.